What's going on, guys? My name is Tim Ruswick, and today we're talking about tracking, but not just any kind of tracking. We're not talking about some kind of in the woods tracking the Yeti monster. We're talking about marketing tracking, and this sounds like a boring subject. This sounds like something that you don't really want to pay attention to. But trust me, if you pay attention to this video, if you listen to what I have to say, I promise you that this will help your marketing efforts tenfold, if not 100-fold, and let you know what you're doing that is more effective, and it'll kind of help you focus your marketing efforts on things that matter, right? Because we only have a limited amount of time. We have a limited amount of days before our launch date and all that great stuff. So being effective with what we do is just as important as actually doing the thing. So what do I mean by tracking? Well, a lot of people, myself included, when I started doing all this stuff, we're learning about marketing, right? We're discovering, we're trying stuff out, because that's what marketing is a giant experiment to see how can I get the most eyeballs, how can I get the most people to give me some money for my thing. And we do a bunch of stuff, and some of it works and some of it doesn't. But the problem is most people don't know what works. They post their game on Facebook, they post it on Twitter, they post it on Reddit. They do a bunch of things. Maybe they send out an email to their friends, and they get a bunch of sales. And they're like, "Cool, I did marketing and I got a bunch of sales." But what they don't realize is that likely the 80-20 rule comes into play. So the majority of those sales actually came from one source. So if you think about it, wouldn't you rather spend 80% of your time on the one source that generates 80% of the revenue, right? Like if you post 5 places and one of them just works so much better than all the rest, why don't you just spend your time on the one that works so much better than the rest? Most people never track what they're doing, so they don't realize what they're doing. They don't realize what works. They just know that they did a bunch of stuff and they got some sales, right? And that's a dangerous way to live life, because I feel like you don't really learn anything from that. The only people that I've met a lot of indie game developers over, especially the last year or so, since I've been working on YouTube, since I've been working with developers, and sort of the community and all that stuff. And it's interesting because they usually end up in 2 groups. The group that A, doesn't know anything about marketing, anything at all. They don't want anything to do with marketing. They just want to make their game. Or B, the group that's interested and they want to learn marketing, but they're still not 100% on how to actually do the thing. So it's interesting to kind of talk to some of these guys that are interested in marketing and they want to learn the stuff, but they don't really have a good grasp on what they're doing that's working. Like, they're actually doing stuff, right? They're going out of their way and marketing stuff, but they're not actually learning from the things that they do, because they're not tracking what they're doing. They're not tracking the different stats. So now you may be wondering, okay, well, how do I track the stats? What do I do? Well, a lot of different ways to track, and it really depends on what you're doing. The first thing that I would recommend that you do is install Google Analytics. If you're running a website, if you have a landing page, whatever it is, install Google Analytics. There's so much data that comes with just installing that alone. You'll be able to figure out where people are coming from, what website they came from, how long they were there, all the different, there's a ton of different things, including being able to see who's on your site in real time. It's just, there's so much data in just that one thing, so I'd recommend you do that. But second, if you don't want to get sophisticated, let's say you don't have a website. Let's say you just want to track individual things. Let's say you want to, let's say you got a screenshot or a GIF that you want to post out and you want to show a bunch of people. How do you track how many eyeballs actually ended up on that? Well, Bitly is a great way to do that. It's a link shortening service, but they also give you a little bit of analytics tools. And this was, let me pull up my account here. So this was an old account I had when I started YouTube. This is from this year, I believe. This is like February and March of this year. And these are all YouTube links. These are all links to my YouTube videos. But as you can see, I went ahead and I made a new link for each video that I did. And Bitly tracks how many people actually click this link. And they give me a few different stats on on how that works. So these are older links at this point, so I'm not sure some of the stats are still there. Or maybe Bitly's just glitching out on me. But either way, you can tell. So I did the same exact marketing on every single one of these videos. I posted them in the Facebook group and I posted them on Twitter. And you could tell some of them, 98, 65, 33, 26, 47. Some of them just did better, right? Some of them just did better. Some of them did better. So by paying attention to what's doing better, I can know what kind of content to create. I can know how to kind of change my strategy and maybe pay attention to things that work better. In addition to that, I could use something like this to go ahead and test out different marketing methods, right? I could have the same link with two different links. I could use two different links to go to the same place, and I could track maybe, let's say, Facebook and Reddit and how they both sent traffic to my thing. Google Analytics will also let you see stuff like you can set up. Let's go on analytics for my website. I'll go ahead and show you guys analytics for Game Dev Underground, and we'll look. Okay, so this is GDU.io. So for example, we've got all these different people coming to the website every single day, right? About 200 people coming a day, which is cool. I can look at their behavior. So for example, I can look at which pages they want to look at. As you can see, the most popular pages, because I have this integrated with my YouTube account, this is actually my YouTube account. This is actually how many people in the last week, the last 7 days, have looked at my channel and looked at my videos. But I can also see the most popular pages on my site, right? So I know blog is probably one of the most important ones. Dashboard is probably important for people who are logged in. Community is really important to people, and so on and so forth. If we want to go to acquisition, where I think we just were, I can see exactly where these people are coming from, right? I have a lot of people that go directly to my website because it's so short, gdu.io. People just remember it and they type it in the URL bar and it just kind of autofills. So that's a perk of having a super short, easily remembered domain name. But if we look at like social, for example, you can look at the majority of my traffic comes from YouTube, right? This is with zero marketing on my effort. This is just how shit happens. I don't really promote the site at all. I don't even know what Pocket is, to be honest. But I get traffic from Reddit. I get traffic from Facebook. I get traffic from Twitter. Just residual traffic that just happens. But here's where the cool stuff that comes out, like where all this different stuff is interesting. So if you look at bounce rate is the percentage of people that automatically just click back on your website. So they hit your website and they don't like what they see, so they just click back, right? In this is the percentage of single page sessions. So people that look at your website and they're like, it's not interesting, and they just hit back. If you notice, the bounce rates are different. They're different depending on the traffic source. Because this is interesting, right? So this doesn't exactly tell me how many people come to my website, which is an interesting number, but that number doesn't tell the whole truth. That number only tells me how many people come, not how interested they are. Bounce rate actually tells me how interested they are to a degree. It's not 100% accurate, but let's say, for example, more people on YouTube click immediately off my website than, say, Facebook. Facebook people, when they come to my website, maybe they're a little bit more interested in what I have to post. Or maybe people are posting directly to relevant content, whereas YouTube is just referring over my general homepage. Same thing with Reddit. Maybe Reddit's referring specific content. So you got to be aware of what the data is telling you, but at the same time, the data is very valuable. It also gives you, my face is blocking it here, but average session duration will tell you how long each individual person stays on your website, and so on and so forth. It also gives you a breakdown of audience, what country they're in, what language they're using, what browser, what operating system, and so on and so forth. So tracking all of this stuff is so incredibly important. And if you're going to market your game, if you're going to push stuff out there, you need to track all these different numbers, how many people are coming, where they're coming from, why they're coming, what they're looking at, so on and so forth. The more you track, the more you can understand what's happening. And the more you understand what's happening, the more you can understand what's effective, what you're doing that is the most effective. For me, I realized what content would work on YouTube and what content wouldn't. What videos are received well, what videos aren't. That's why I make a wide array of different types of videos, because it's always a big test for me to see what content works. And I use views and metrics and likes and watch time and all that as metrics to let me know whether I'm doing right or whether I'm doing wrong, for YouTube specifically. But for my game, I would do the same thing. I can tell very clearly where I get interested people from. If I track the person all the way down the pipeline, I can tell, okay, Facebook maybe get me more people, but Reddit, over all the people that it sends me, are more interested in my game. So maybe Reddit is a better option for me, and so on and so forth. So these are super basic ways to track stuff. Bitly for links and Google Analytics for site statistics. There are a lot more advanced ways, but I thought I would just share some super simple stuff and get you started on the way of tracking, because it's so important. And I believe in baby steps, so we're stepping through there, and hopefully that will help you on your journey for marketing your indie game. But if you got any questions on this, leave them down below. I would love to answer them. If you got any maybe software or websites that you found that can help you track stuff, maybe you do this for your day job, I don't know, leave those down below too, because I would love to see them. I'm always about trying to learn new tools and stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your support. Once again, I am Tim Ruswick, and I will see you again tomorrow.